But I'm so glad I went through my own pattern interrupts. But the only way it happened, Mark, is because my forehead was bleeding. Do you know why my forehead was bleeding?
No, why, Mark?
Good setup, thank you. Because I was beating it against the freaking wall, thinking that I could just do this same stuff over and over again, and I would still be on this upward trajectory. But I said, man, if anything, I'm sliding backwards.
Help me understand you personally. How do you maintain your growth-oriented mindset and balancing everything? You talked about the other businesses and your career, your family, and your own personal, development. How do you maintain all that?
Yeah, again, great question, Mark. I'll say all of the above, but I'll get more specific. I absolutely believe, and I'm reading a book by Dr. Attia now. I'll tell the audience what it is, but it's about holistic wellness, holistic well-being. Just giving more references here, more reference materials.
No, love it, and we put everything in the episode notes, right? Things you reference when you reference Atomic Habits, or whether you reference Mel Robbins or
Mel Robbins, right? And then Dr. Brene Brown. But this is Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity, Peter Attia. It's a highly recommended read. Well, the guy's an MD, so he's got the pedigree, but he talks about holistic wellness. And I want to share with you and the audience that we already know all this stuff. What we do at the Pacific Institute is just sort of package common sense. It's a user's guide to our mind. And so what Dr. Attia shares is all medically sound, but it's this holistic well-being that includes certainly nutrition. And yes, I'm sorry, everybody, exercise. Yes, I'm sorry. And then mental health as well.
Yeah.
Feeding the brain. My mother always talked about brain food and, being this voracious, forever learner. She also told me about, and I remember the Rudyard Kipling, the If poem that hung on my wall as a kid. Well, if you walk with, walk with and never lose the common touch. If you can walk with kings, but never lose the common touch, you are a man, my son. That's the last stanza. So what are we talking about? It's self-reflection. I can still walk with pedigreed kings. I can still, just work with extraordinary folks like yourself and I mean, just, military warriors and extreme athletes, but never lose the common touch through self-awareness and grounding, right? Rudyard Kipling. But I go back to this holistic nurturing of my soul. So what do? Listen to a book a week. 5:30 every morning. I haven't done cold plunges yet, but I got my guy. Big old dude, and we exercise every morning. Weekend, I live in the beach, weekend runs. Meditation, yoga. Man, I'll try everything but drugs. I don't do drugs. I know there's a lot of microdosing going on out there and a lot of, what do they call, what is that? Ayahuasca. There's a lot of that stuff like microdosing hallucinogens. A lot of that stuff going on. I mean, and I'm talking about advanced people, because what happens, it gets you back to your subconscious in a medically induced way, or I should say in a chemically induced way. Well, I do that through my own breathing practices and all of the like. I mean, I do my best to fuel my body with the right nutrition. I get on my knees. I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful. I get back in touch. Have I always been like this? No. But over Labor Day, I rented a boat and we floated down the intercoastal with me and my kids and their husbands and significant others and four-legged fur babies. And we went, it was just beautiful. Did I ever do that before? No, because I was out of touch, because I was on the gerbil wheel. But I have done my own pattern interrupt and eat my own dog food, so I can practice the very thing that I preach. I can't preach about performance and holistic living without doing it to make sure it works. And I'm telling y'all, it freaking works.
It works. When you mentioned, mind, body, soul, right? That's great. I mean, we talk about numerous times. We talk about exercising, whether it's, dietary needs, whether it's whatever we're doing, right? To maintain ourselves and allow us to do all these other things and perform at the level that we're, especially as business owners or those in leadership to perform at that level. We can't, I can't live off Doritos and pizza and all these other things and still expected to perform at the level I need to perform, right? In my business, in my personal life. I mean, even though those things are great, and trust me, I love my sweets. Like I could live, sweets first, then meal. But you got to resist that and go, okay, moderation.
A good dessert is better than a fabulous dinner anytime. That was my mantra. What I want to do though is share for those that should only start the journey by that first step of 1,000 miles by making your bed. I used to not be like this. I was part of a generational business, and when you're on third base, baseball analogy, sometimes you think that you hit the triple. Bro, I didn't hit the freaking triple. If it wasn't for my grandfather, if it wasn't for, now I quadrupled the size of the company, but if it wasn't for my grandfather back in 1932 in Westerly, Rhode Island, that founded the Pansier Funeral Home, and then my father and mother coming down here as entrepreneurs in Southeast Florida and establish it here, would I have been on third base? So, I had a less than mentality, but I was just in a comfort zone, and I had all the artifacts and bling to prove that, okay, well, I'm serving on this board and these people like me. And then I'm asking to participate in this organization. And then I'm getting this award, whatever. And by the way, I'm just going to say it straight up. I also was a professional drinker. I was freaking great at it. And I loved it. I freaking loved it. Never did drugs, but damn it all, I loved it. And I was good at it. But then it just didn't serve me anymore. And I'm sort of thinking, I'm thankful about it, because the mornings after, it was difficult to transition. I remember, though, I used to use this quote by Winston Churchill: pity the man that never drinks, or pity the man that doesn't drink, because he never feels better than he does when he first wakes up in the morning. Because think about that, when you got a hangover, you just get, but you manage through. And this isn't a tale of woe. It's just, as you get older, it is just, it didn't serve me anymore. And but I'm so glad I went through my own pattern interrupts. But the only way it happened, Mark, is because my forehead was bleeding. Do you know why my forehead was bleeding?
No, why, Mark?
Good setup, thank you. Because I was beating it against the freaking wall, thinking that I could just do the same stuff over and over again, and I would still be on this upward trajectory. But I said, man, if anything, I'm sliding backwards, and I'm really not tapping into and shame on me. I've got more gifts than and that's what happened in that scotoma moment in the funeral home. And now my head doesn't bleed anymore because I don't beat it against the wall.
And you stole my question, because I was curious what made that change, right? Like at what point in your life did you say, hey, it's not serving me? And I think a lot of things in life, I think I myself know too, I need to reflect more on things in life and go, is it serving me? Whether it's the thing I'm doing, whether maybe it's a relationship you're in, the friends you keep, clients you have, all those things need to be run through that same thought process. Are they serving me? And I think too, am I serving them? Part of me would say is like, am I, it has to be, maybe it's not all about me. Am I doing them a disservice by staying in this relationship or doing this thing? Or
it's beautiful. I love it. And I look like a bobblehead doing this. I mean, love it. Is it serving me? And yes, you're right. Or am I so negatively, or how am I serving them? And it could be very toxic. But I have a scotoma because I'm the Mac Daddy. I'm the market maker. Everybody looks to me for advice. Everybody wants me sitting at their, no, I was on the wrong side of ego. And you know what? A shout out to a dear friend of mine from Australia, Jonathan Grabner. He wrote the book, The Other Side of Ego. I believe that's the title, but I actually tapped into him. I did a TED Talk as mentioned, and the damn thing went viral because of his support. It's all about mindset. It's this, instead of an hour and 16 minutes, it's 9 minutes. But this dude told me about his journey, and he was just a loving, giving human, but he was real with me, and it helped me. He put the mirror in front of me in a very a coaching forward way, but with appreciative inquiry, asking the question and asking, is it serving you anymore? But how is it serving others? How are you impacting others? And that's where the rubber met the road.
Okay.
Am I serving my wife properly? Am I serving my children properly? Am I serving my team properly? So thank you for that comment, for that mention. Right on. Well,
it kind of throwing it out there, and because I feel it's also important. So you mentioned ego. That's a tough one. I guess from them is how do you, once again, the constant serving me. It feels like it's feeding myself, feeding my ego. But how do we keep that ego in check, in a sense, right? And we don't become self-centered.
Certainly. All about others, all about others-centric. That doesn't mean, though, and everybody says there's no I in team. I actually disagree. Because if you don't put the oxygen, what does the flight attendant say when you get on a plane? Put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Why? To help others. So I needed to be in a better state to actually understand I was on the wrong side of ego. Okay. That it was all about me, and all it was about me winning and it at risk of others losing. But I'm the apex predator. So how can I make sure that I'm serving others so they're elevated? And that is what gives me joy now. That's why I also create a succession plan for the Pacific Institute. Extraordinary new CEO, Richard Resnick. I'm now CEO Emeritus. He's building out an extraordinary team. But I knew very much Goldsmith, what got us here won't get us there. I mean, our founder, Lou Tice, did an extraordinary job. He was an extraordinary founder. I mean, just bizarre success from the 60s through generations, decades, to when he passed away in 2012. And me and as a part of the investor team, or I should say successor owners, we bought the company, but there was still so much legacy that was we were still steeped in legacy.
Okay.
But then COVID hits, black swan event, and we were resting on our laurels. We weren't stretching ourselves. We were resting on Lou and Diane Tice's extraordinary successes. But COVID hits. We're a high-touch consultancy. We don't even know how to spell Zoom, and we're still using fax machines. And we're talking about being a transformational company. Man, we're still using the abacus. We're still very analog, if anything. Shoebox. And we.
So you were on third base in that situation too, with no idea how to get to home plate.
Oh my God! And guess what? And yet, I know you already got COVID hit. Guess what? The partners looked at one another and said, "Man, we got to do something about this. Otherwise, we're going to flame out. There's going to be a supernova event."
Yeah.
Who's going to be the CEO? Son of a gun. And it wasn't exactly like that. It was a bit more treacherous along the way. But I said, I'm in. That's a dude who didn't think he was enough going from funeral service to this. Now I'm the freaking CEO. You got to be kidding me. And I want to use another word there. You got to be, what in me, right? But 4.5 years, we went from uncertainty, complexity, forced innovation, black swan event, fragility, to surviving and thriving. What got us here, and that is getting rid, like the monkey going from that vine to that vine. Uh-huh. We were in midair. It's like, holy, are we gonna make it, right? Yeah. We not only grabbed that next vine, but we're now going to the next tree because I helped the company, along with my great partners and a great team, to get through the last 4.5 years. But I know what got us here, me, isn't going to get us there. And that self-awareness on the right side of ego is I'm fanning the flame of these other extraordinary leaders standing down as CEO Emeritus, if you will. and being this brand evangelist in a way that I can go back to my caregiving roots.
Wonderful.
And so I don't remember what the hell you asked me early on.
It's not important anymore.
Okay, well, thank you. But it is, about the wrong side of ego or the right side. How do you get to the right side of ego? It's realizing ego isn't sure. Are you going to be the king of the mountain and watch this company go out of business slowly? Are you going to be the apex predator and just rest on your laurels and think that you're really achieving when growth is stagnant? Revenue's the same, and the only reason you're more profitable is because you cut expenses because there was too much spend before anyway. Come on, you got to be real. Be real. So, and by the way, I don't believe money's the most important thing, but I think it's right up there with oxygen, because without it, you can't pay the bills. You can't make payroll. So don't think that everything that I'm talking about is just esoteric happy talk. No, you got to get real about transaction. And what I know with being on the right side of ego, it opens up your mind. I mean, your mind's eye is on a 360, and you're more intentional, and you understand the artful balance in performance. You understand bringing out the best in others, and you embrace leveling up others, which then might put you in a different position out of the limelight, but you are more fulfilled and more what's the word? You flourish more than ever before because of the greatness that you have coached in, up, and out of these others.
Hi, I'm Mark Thomas, founder and CEO of Current Tech Solutions and Cyber Guardians. We know business owners like you want to focus on growing your company, not worrying about IT problems or security threats. That's where we come in. Our team uses AI to protect your business from cyber risks and keep everything running smoothly. If you're ready for peace of mind and a stronger future, reach out to us today. Let's secure and elevate your business together.